Hello, everyone. It came into my meditation this morning to do some work around the train derailments where the appalling amounts of acid. East Palestine and Ohio, there's been reports of at least 9 other derailments. It's just baffling, but also not because we know what's going on. So anyway, I was thinking, gosh, what healing can I bring to this? As much as it pains me, there is the wake-up factor. The natural karmic cycle of feeling what's been created on Earth and it being reflected back to us. So allowing for wake-up factor to go on, but whilst just desperately not wanting any more pain for anyone, not wanting any more pain for Gaia, not wanting any more pain for the innocents involved, massive destruction to wildlife, to all the life in those rivers and all the mammals and the birds and who rely on those waterways, and then the earth and just all of it. It's just absolutely heartbreaking. So for those of us who are awake and aware and who are empathic and who feel the earth, we feel everything. And that's the stage we need all of humanity to get to. Waking up is about being able to feel what is going on and feel the pain of it, so we know what we don't want to be happening anymore. Okay. In the 5D, we won't need that karmic system anymore. It won't exist. Because we'll know. Because we'll just know. We would have learnt our lessons. We will have... I wish there were lessons we never had to learn in the first place. But this is what's happened. We fell for the darkness. Invaded by the darkness. Some say humanity was created in order to corral darkness. I like that one best. I like that one best. So humanity, we're going to have a very honoured place going forward in the history of this universe, because we endured this and we did corral the darkness and endured the darkness so we could understand it and pull it all apart and be like forensic scientists, understand the root causes of it so it would never happen again. Okay, let's get to the fairy. Fairy, we'd like to bring some healing today for the highest good, to do with these train derailments and all the poison pouring into the waterways and into Mother Earth, and to all the, I imagine, fear and anger of all the people in those areas. What can we bring to this today? We have the Dark Lady. Okay, now this card, usually for me it has one of two meanings. So the first meaning is what we think of the Dark Lady, but actually the Dark Lady who's willing to go into the dark. She herself is not darkness, but she's actually of extraordinary light and power and strength, and she is able to go into the darkness for the sake of love. So she's an incredibly loving being. And then another meaning, completely different meaning, is darkness itself. The Dark Lady as in the corrupted lady. Think of a dark high priestess who has fallen for the darkness and is not serving the light at all. Okay, okay. The fairies are expressing to me their absolute heartbreak at these events with the train derailments and the poisoning of the earth and the waterways and the animals and the birds, and they are absolutely bereft. I'm seeing fairies just on their knees. It reminds me of, people at a funeral. Not an English funeral. English funerals are very reserved. I'm thinking more like a Native American. Just that wailing, that grieving, that absolute outpouring, that gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching. Oh God, this has happened. Oh God, this has happened. And the bitterness of it, the grief of it, the unnecessary destruction of it, pouring out these feelings. The fairy, they're so connected to every single life form in our world. They're so connected to Gaia, they feel everything. So once again, they are going through the grief that humanity has long suppressed and avoided and not wanted to look at. The destruction that humanity's not wanted to look at. Pure evil is what I'm hearing. Absolute pure evil. To wreck life in this way. And I want to say this also relates to even the fact that such chemicals were being transported in such large amounts. What on earth was that about? And to me this is indicative of, because we lost all our advanced technologies. I mean, yes, any technology can be used for ill in the wrong hands, which is why this world has purposely been in a kind of lockdown as to what technologies we've had access to. Alongside that, yes, there's the dark purposely withholding some technologies so we were not empowered and we would not have, free energy. And so again, there's always a duality. There's always two things going on, at least contradictory things. Yeah, where was I going with that? Yeah, just the fact we've relied on such kind of base ways of creating that we use poisons in such vast amounts. I mean, those poisons were going to end up in Gaia one way or another, somewhere down the line. Unless there was some incredible alchemical process which then neutralized them later on. But so, the whole setup is questionable. Why are we relying on poisons? Why is it such a delicate process to be transporting them? So, anyway, that's a little bit of an aside. But yeah, so I'm just getting pure evil that this has happened. Pure evil. Okay, thank you, fairies. Next card, please. We'll do 3 cards. Do you know, I knew this card was going to come. All right, we have the Pook. It's the best name, the Pook. I'm going to return to the book for this because he has come out reversed, which I have not seen before. So the Pook in general is the shape changer, good in bad and bad in good, paradox, resolution. Yeah, absolutely. We're dealing with some paradoxes here. Reversed, there is a paradox that we are unable to resolve at this time. Recognizing the paradox helps move us closer to a solution for it. But the information or experience we need to resolve it is not yet available to us. The trick here is to avoid becoming bogged down by this. We need to get on with other aspects of our lives while acknowledging the difficulty here. If possible, we need to postpone related decisions and then relax about it, knowing that the insight we need will come and we cannot rush it. In fact, trying to rush it usually only causes us to become more deeply mired in the confusion. Relax, wait, and stay alert. And then there's a quote. So the writing is by Jessica Macbeth, and Brian Froud, who did all the images, all these amazing, incredible artworks, has added, "Fairies trip you up to give you a new perspective on the world." So this is really beautiful to me. So the fairies in the first card have truly acknowledged the emotions around this, the appalling evil that is going on, the appalling destruction. And then in the next breath, they're saying, there's so many layers to these events. Things are not going to be clear yet. So we're not going to get too tangled in understanding it. And also, as it says, the good in the bad and the bad in the good. There are lots of layers, both good and bad, to these events. I love the way the fairies really honour emotions. They're not taking away at all from how awful these events are. And there's going to be some grains of good come out of this. Thank you, fairy. I'm going to take a third card. Oh, he came quick. The Bodacious Bodak. Okay. The Bodacious Bodak. Okay. The fairies are sending us courage. They're sending us courage. They're saying, be bodacious in the face of these atrocities. Be bodacious, be bold, be brave. Be forthright. I'm seeing this is a real call to everyone involved in these events directly, everyone living in those areas, to be bodacious. I love it. To be outspoken, to feel the feelings, to observe and be tenacious in finding the truth. Being sovereign, being forthright, being not coming from a devastated place. I mean, yes, deal with those feelings, tend to those feelings lovingly, but then come from a place of having an iron will. I love that. I'm going to turn to the book for this one as well. Okay. This is also the card of meddling, tampering, sabotage. I mean, yes, the whole thing's sabotage, isn't it? It's massive sabotage. Helpful fixing is another one. So when, yeah, okay. And also order. So each card holds within it the paradox. Also a return to order. Sometimes meddling in something can create a huge, massive knot, but actually in the undoing of the knot, you find a deeper level of truth than you had in the first place. So that's very interesting. So the card is speaking to, yes, this is an event of massive sabotage on one level. It's also speaking to tangling things up, making things worse, so we actually have to look at them. Yeah, okay. This is a message that came to me earlier as well. So we actually have to look at them and start to really unpick what on earth is going on there for these events to have happened. And then, in so doing, we eventually return to order. Okay. Wow, thank you, Fairy. All right. So to bring some healing to these events, we've already begun, because we've been feeling the feelings around them, bringing patience for the truth to be revealed, absolute clarity around these are evil events. Okay. Another message that came to me earlier and has just been reinforced by the cards. Okay. Again, I'm going to talk about many levels, so please don't get stuck on any one level. We can never see the whole by looking at only one side. But this is one level of what came to me about these events. It struck me that the earth is being poisoned through these events. What has humanity just gone through? A mass poisoning. And you all know what I'm talking about. A mass poisoning. A mass poisoning that people are unaware of. So it's become the shadow. A shadow side. So what is now showing up in people's reality? Poisoning. Out in nature in a very obvious, explosive way. Poisoning is now in their faces. What we bury becomes the shadow, and it will appear somewhere else in our reality until we are prepared to actually look within and find the source of it. So that was one interesting link I noticed about this. What the masses have been unable to look at within themselves, literally, physically and spiritually, is expressing itself outwardly. So that's one layer. Another layer, of course, yes, this is a sabotage attempt by the dark, but the dark is the shadow. The dark is shadowing. It's taking anywhere where we are blind, where we are deaf, where we are unseeing, where we are unfeeling, and they use that against us. So yes, it is their act of evil, but they can only really perform any evil where we are blind and not seeing and not feeling. So there's a lot of talk about the good guys, we'll call them, allowing certain events because they're going to wake people up. I personally struggle with this. I think we've gone way past the point of just needing the truth. However, I will accept that that's what they're doing. So to a certain extent, they are allowing these events. I feel there's another level beyond that as well, where actually there are certainly events which they cannot control because there has to be a karmic reckoning. There has to be. So I'm going to take an example from my life. So I was aware in my past lives of having this shadow. And I won't go into too many personal details, but in this life, it really came to the fore. And I experienced what I had done to other people in past lives. And I'm bringing a lot of love and forgiveness to all of this. We all have these patterns. We all are dealing with darkness on this planet. And as a result of being the human race and being here to corral darkness, we have experienced darkness, we have acted on darkness, we have expressed darkness in this great cosmic cycle of learning all about it. So there is, when I say these things, there's only huge forgiveness for everyone. Absolutely everyone. So I got to experience being the victim to this cycle instead of the persecutor. And that deeply alchemized the whole experience for me, because I could finally understand the darkness that I had been perpetrating on others. And this is also happening. Sorry, I just kicked the mic. This is also happening. So, for example, the very big, nasty entities, if you like, kind of the dark consciousness and the sort of big baddies, the ones we don't see, the ones we don't ever see. I mean, absolutely evil to the core. Those variety. I'm not talking about government level. I'm not talking about the deep state level. There's quite a few of them, well, all of them actually, will be put through a process of experiencing what they have been doing to humanity for eons. And they're only going to need a few seconds of that. And in that moment, they're going to understand why they have been heading in completely the wrong direction. And no matter what illusions they've created for themselves and the lies they've told themselves, they've actually been destroying themselves and they've been destroying everything. And they're going to finally understand that, because at the moment they're wired to think destruction is a good thing and death is a good thing. I don't mean the spiritual, like, death as in just passing over back to spirit and just, leaving the body for a while. I mean, their version of death, which is very different. They literally worship death. They worship nothingness. They worship anti-life. So they're going to see the error of their ways by finally being on the receiving end of everything they've done. And it's this alchemical karmic process on a soul level, squaring the balance. So as much as people say, the good guys allow these events, I think there's also deeper karmic things which have to play out to have that balancing. Now, of course, the innocents suffer; they always do. But it's the pain of the innocents which wake people up. Again, my heart bleeds for all of this, but this is a situation we've got ourselves into. So I want to focus next on, what healing can we bring to this? So not interfering with karmic rebalancing, not interfering with waking people up. What healing can we bring? So I'm going to ask the fairy. Well, 3 cards just very neatly popped out and sat on the arm of my chair. So we will go with them. The fairies are giggling at me because I'm always like, don't bring me too many cards, fairies, because I just go off on one for hours. Okay. What healing can we bring? Alright, I'll see if I can keep this brief with these 3 cards. Let's see. Okay, we have the Allow Me, we have Geo the Slow, and we have Fairies of the Future. Oh, my heart, can't take it. In a good way. Okay. I'm seeing Gaia in the Allow Me today, and she's very resigned to these processes. She's been going through this for eons. So this is kind of like one more wound to her body after so many wounds. So she's very stoic about this. She too can see the greater healing. She is receiving so much healing from light forces, from so many different groups on the planet. She knows that we are in this with her, and that we are assisting her and trying to make this as smooth as we possibly can for her. She has remarkable healing abilities, absolutely remarkable. I mean, these poisonings, when you think about other disasters and they talk about everything coming back to life within, sometimes I think, oh my goodness, it's going to be dead forever. But then actually, within a decade, Gaia has alchemized it all. She has extraordinary power. The only reason we don't see her able to transmute this kind of thing almost immediately, partly because humanity need to realize what they're doing or what they're allowing to be done. And also, she's just been so suppressed for such a long time. Her energies have been targeted for such a long time, so she's not in her power. But she is greatly assisted at this time. Okay, I'm just going to imagine brilliant white light all through those areas of Gaia where these train derailments are happening, where this poisoning is happening. Kind of like a containment. We're going to bring intense, brilliant white light to all of these areas. Okay, I'm seeing the souls of all the life forms involved who have already passed over. Again, a bit of a heartbreaking bit, but let's see all those beautiful souls now lifting up and ascending into the light, so they have an easy transition. I'm seeing all these thousands upon thousands of little golden orbs. There's mammals and birds and the fish and all the life in those rivers. Everything that's already been affected. We're just going to help them transition. Whenever I do this, whenever I just assist with souls transitioning, even just to witness them at times, make sure it's a complete process for them, painless, and they're returning to the all and everything, the gorgeous. They're returning to heaven, basically. They're returning to bliss. I mean, they are in absolute delight as soon as they transition. That's a really important thing to remember. And helping them transition is such an honour. It's only when things get a little bit stuck, it's not quite so comfortable. Yeah, I'm just seeing thousands of golden orbs lifting up from the rivers and the land. Okay, we're bringing in... What colour light would you like? I'm seeing turquoise light. It's now filtering down to all of the trees, especially the trees, other plants as well, but especially the trees. We're going to help stabilize the trees so they can, just to support them in alchemizing this poison. So this is going to help set them up for the longer term. Again, not all the trees are going to make it, but all the ones that do, we can start to help alchemize. And even the ones who pass over, they have a role of taking on board a lot of the poison and passing over, and in that way taking the poison with them. I hope that makes sense. So it's like a soul sacrifice. It's a very beautiful thing they're doing, because the more trees that absorb this in the immediate area and either manage to alchemize it, or that tree passes over, they then take that poison with them that gets transmuted into the light. So we're just going to support the trees. This beautiful turquoise light. If you're seeing anything like this, whatever colour you imagine is the right colour, because we all have a different healing power that we can bring to this. We all have our unique energy blueprint, our unique healing abilities. And if you see anything else in any way at all to heal these events, then my goodness, go with that, because that's where your power is. Okay, the same for the animals, any poison that they've taken on, and then passing over, they're taking that poison with them to be transmuted into the light. Thank you for your sacrifice. We will soon live in a world where sacrifice on that level is just not necessary. But again, for now, we deeply, deeply honour their sacrifice. So we have all of these areas surrounded in brilliant white light. If If you wanted to, you could bring up a map of Ohio and anywhere else there's been these train derailments, if you feel that would make your healing abilities even more potent. Okay. To the land itself that is absorbing these acids, these poisons. Okay, I'm seeing purple light, violet light this time, violet flame, to the land. Saturating the land, supporting the land, and alchemizing these poisons. We're going to set up these areas for the swiftest possible restoration. Okay, wonderful. You will hear me sigh. Seems to be part of my process, sighing. Deep breathing is a fairly essential part of any healing. So I'm just staying with these colours. I'm seeing the turquoise coming down into the trees, the purples and violets coming down into the land. I'm seeing pink go into the waterways. Beautiful pink, streams of pink colour sparkling through all the waterways, supporting, cleansing. Okay, now we're going to expand our field of healing to all the people affected, all the people in the surrounding areas. So we'll start at the physical level. So any of the people who've been physically affected already by these train derailments, we're going to bring them brilliant white light to their bodies. I just had a nudge to mention about permission. When we're sending somebody healing, well, this is my take, this is how I work. We can send general healing to everybody. And then specific healing, I always ask the higher self of the person involved, and preferably ask the person involved directly, because this is all about sovereignty. And then depending on just how you're working, really. So for me, I do quite a lot of this work, and the more I do it, the more I receive a general permission. You know, we're in the liberation. I ask for Gaia's permission to do healings, and it's always a yes. It's always a yes. Depends what flavour you come in with. If you come purely from sort of detachment and surrender, that's very different to sort of wading into a situation trying to control it. Which is why I made sure to feel the feelings at the beginning of this reading, so they are now cleared. Not saying there won't be more feelings in future, and the fairy brought in the feelings as well, so we could get past those and just come into neutral space and just bring this beautiful healing. So again, I'm seeing the beautiful turquoise colours to the trees, these streams of beautiful pink colours to the rivers. Have any colours you wish if you're joining in with me. And these beautiful purples and violets to the land. And now to the people, brilliant white light for the physical level. I'm going to bring a brilliant, a very soft blue to the emotional fields of everyone affected, immediately affected. So to bring alchemy to the emotions for the highest good. So this is not to suppress emotions, as I was just saying. It's so important to feel the feelings and then come back to clarity, neutrality, because that's when the truth comes through and our power to act and to act for the good of all and ourselves as sovereign warrior beings. So brilliant soft blue to the emotional layer of all the people directly involved, the people of Ohio, extending that to everyone who's been affected by seeing this information on the news, bringing support to the emotional level, to process the emotions and get to truth and right action, clarity, patience. The fairies mentioned patience a little while ago. Everything is murky at the moment. Wait for clarity. Okay, there's something's coming through about the emotional level. So when things are poisoned, it has a particular effect on the emotions. I'm just seeing this kind of very foggy energy. So you don't have to be poisoned personally. It can just be the idea of poisoning, this sort of taking over. It's a very parasitic kind of thing, actually, isn't it? Being poisoned, being infiltrated. It has a particular effect on the emotions. I'm hearing it's so to do with our boundaries. Okay. Emotional boundaries. It can feel like an invasion, a takeover. Okay. What healing can we bring this? So again, the emotions are so important. The anger is so important. Anger is very often to do with restoring boundaries, becoming aware of where there's a lack of boundaries. So this is boundaries towards anything evil, towards any of this nonsense. Boundaries with authorities, supposed authorities. Humanity's boundaries have been chipped away and chipped away and chipped away. Which is why the dark has been able to do what it's done. Okay, so back to the soft blue light on the emotional level. Something's just coming through that we can directly help with those boundaries. Just let go a little bit more myself. Okay. I'm being asked to bring... Because I wanted to keep seeing a wall, but that was me trying to put that in there. And it just wasn't feeling right. But no, it's not that. It's... This is interesting. Bear with me. A fortifying of each person directly involved, directly affected. So the people of Ohio, they have a mission ahead of them now to alchemize this. They are the ones on the front line of these derailments. Even the word derailment. I mean, how much does that say? They're trying to derail humans again. They're trying to derail our emotions. They're trying to derail our minds. They're trying to derail our physical bodies. So the people of Ohio are on the front line of this. They are the ones alchemizing it. And what I'm seeing is for them to start to have boundaries, and this will have a ripple effect across all the world, they're kind of setting the blueprint, especially if there are more I was going to call it what it was then, but that might get me deplatformed. More of these disasters, dark created disasters. They're going to set a blueprint for any further ones where people in future in other areas will be able to respond much better, because the people of Ohio are going to set this blueprint, so we can help them with that. So the boundaries, emotional boundaries, mental boundaries, no longer being able to be derailed. That's where we're going with this on all levels of our being. I'm seeing the people of Ohio and just bringing them strength, and I'm actually seeing it down to the cellular level. Okay, this is where we're going into DNA upgrades. Right, okay. As they come into their power around this situation, their anger, their forthright truth, they're going to be upgrading at a cellular level. Literally, the cells in their bodies are going to be stronger on the physical level. So everything about their physicality is going to kind of upgrade. And therefore, and when you have a physically strong body, you're better able to have strong emotions. When I say strong emotions, I mean clear and powerful and to the point and truthful and processed easily and effortlessly. That's what strong emotions are. At the mental level, clarity, truth. This is turning to a long reading, but I'm going to stay with it because this needs finishing well. We have this gorgeous opportunity to do this work, so let's stay with it. So I'm seeing this strengthening of the people of Ohio. I'm feeling it in my own body as resonance with them. This strengthening, this fortifying, which is all part of waking up. Waking up is about coming back into power, coming back into strength, into sovereignty, mastery over physical, emotional, mental, spiritual bodies, etheric body, every level, through all time and space. No longer having those blind spots where the dark can get up to all sorts. Okay, wow. So the boundary is not so much about having walls up. Sometimes that's absolutely appropriate. But the boundaries the fairy and spirit are talking about is just the solid self, being solid, being strong on every level. Knowing the self. When one knows the self, lies just bounce off. You see straight through any single lie that you come across. You become the ultimate lie detector because you are filled with so much truth. There's absolutely no way, nowhere to get in because you own all of yourself. So that's the potential for the people of Ohio right now. And anyone keeping up with these disasters by the dark. No longer able to derail. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm just going to sweep brilliant white light through all of this now. So all of the areas where these poisonings are happening, all the people involved, just a clean sweep, coming back to a gorgeous light energy, that relief. So feeling the feelings of everyone involved when they've seen the truth and the cleanup has happened and they're strong and they're sovereign. The other two cards that came earlier, Geo the Slow, so that's what it says on the tin. When we slow right down, right down, that's when we can see most clearly. Why is the dark associated with chaos? What is chaos? Chaos is that frantic, tangled, it's very fast. It's very fast. Why is it like that? Well, to make it difficult to understand it, to make it difficult to unravel. It's kind of beyond our grasp because we operate at a slower rate. If this makes sense, bear with me. This is going to sound like a contradiction yet again. How do I always get into this? If you then slow down the chaos, like slow motion, it's a bit like watching a film. This is a good analogy, actually. Subliminal messaging that they can do through films, so they can slot in images, and the image goes so fast you don't consciously see it, but your subconscious does. It's exactly like that. So you slow down the movie, and then you can see any subliminal messaging that's going on, or more likely an advert. You can see everything because it's slowed down to the rate of your awareness. So any kind of chaos in life, it's about slowing down. Slow down the chaos. Take one little step at a time. So no hasty decisions around any of this. In our response to it, just slow it all down, see it for what it is. Don't be attached to any outcomes yet. As the message was earlier, things will not be clear yet. Now, the other card that came was Faeries of the Future. Now, we've been working a lot with them just now. We're looking forward to when Gaia is completely cleansed again and all this poisoning is completely transmuted. The incredible healing abilities of the trees and the land and the waterways to restore, and even where there is death, through those deaths, they're going to be taking with them the poisons into pure light for transmutation. So, Fairies of the Future, what else do you have for us? Again, where there is challenge, there is massive opportunity for growth, massive opportunity for waking up and never letting these things happen again. I'm hearing it's being brought to the doorstep of America. I don't know what it's been like in America. I'm in the UK, but all through my life you hear about these disasters, whether it's an oil tanker crashed on some rocks or some other natural disaster. We know that most disasters are not natural at all. And it's always somewhere else. It's always over there. It's very easy for the mind just to go, I can't deal with something all the way over there. I'm just going to get on with my life. So there, in some way, it's being brought to the doorstep of America. We know that America is the freedom key, the eye of the storm. There's a lot of talk about end of days. Not for us, but for the others, for the dark ones. And everything seems to really be ramping up at this time. I know we've had loads of dates, etc., etc., etc. But potentially, these next few months really is the eye of the storm. Okay, we're going to see a massive uprising of human spirit. Reminds me of like wartime, and everyone suddenly comes together and they work together, and everyone's pulling together, and to realize our power again to do that, and to realize that, wow, all me and my neighbours, we came together and we did that. Look what we can do. So that resurgence of power and autonomy to act and to make things happen, no longer languishing in, this fake world where everything appears to be provided and we've completely lost our bite. We've lost our ability to act and have any control over anything. Okay, thank you, Fairies. Okay, I'm seeing the fairies of the future. They are observing very carefully these events. And I'm hearing the message they are available to absolutely anyone for solace and help, and to get back to that broader, higher perspective, to help when it feels overwhelming, or just, again, going back to the emotions. When it feels overwhelming, it very often means there's some more grief to process, there's some more pain to process. Wow, thank you, fairies. Thank you so much. So the final messages for this reading, any final healings? Let's just wrap this up. An awful lot is going to be brought to light through these events. An awful lot, things I can't even grasp at the moment. There's going to be even seeming completely unrelated things brought to light due to these events. That's interesting. It might be, for example, layers of corruption, certain figures hauled up and seen for who they really are. It's definitely putting a massive wedge into the human consciousness. A lot of information that needs to come through these derailments. Even the word, I keep coming back to the word derailment. It's almost like it's a message to the human collective of like, you are being derailed. You have been derailed. Now it's time to get back on track. As part of this wake up, words are so powerful. To finally feel the instability, for example, on the emotional level of humanity. So humanity can now go, hey, that's uncomfortable actually. I didn't realise, but that's actually been really uncomfortable for a long time. Let's do something about it. Beautiful. Okay, sending all of my love to East Palestine in Ohio and all the other areas where these derailments are happening, to all the people involved, all of Gaia's incredible beings. We're going to hold the light for them, the absolute highest good. And that all the truth that could possibly come through these events comes through, so these were not wasted. And thank you to the incredible alchemical powers of the trees and the water and the land and the animals and the fish in the waterways. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, everyone. If you feel guided, you could come back to this type of healing for those areas whenever you feel inspired to. It will be very, very greatly received. Okay, everyone. Signing off. All my love.